Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome to this special Turn-Based Thursday Fest video. What once was a single day has become a whole week-long celebration of strategy games and the people who love them. And if you want to know more about Turn-Based Thursday Fest, including a schedule of all the creators who are putting out videos and streams and stuff about it, there is a link to the main website for the thing in the description of this video, right alongside a link to the Steam store page for the festival, in case you want to get your hands on some of these strategy games yourself, in case somebody manages to instill a great interest and love of some game in you, which I hope by the end of this video I will have done with Reus 2, because I think this game is fantastic. I don't think it gets anywhere near enough attention, and I think it's a pretty unusual strategy game, unique in the space, I might say. So let me stop talking about it, and let me just show you what is so magical through gameplay. We're going to start a new game here, and when you start a new planet in Reus 2, the first thing you are asked is to choose a human spirit that will seed the destiny of this planet. These spirits give all kinds of crazy bonuses, and I can't really explain to you why we would choose one over another without having to explain a whole bunch of systems first. So I'm simply not going to choose one over another. We're going to hit all random to start our first world here. There are a lot of systems in this game. It is a bit complex, but do not worry. You will not be left behind, even if you've never seen this before. I will be explaining everything as we go. It's going to be a little bit of explaining. It is a complex game. I'm playing on True Titanic difficulty here in Max Horizon Draft Mode, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. But for now, all random, let's just create a planet and get cracking. So at the beginning of a game of Reus, you are handed a big barren planet, some giants to seed that planet with biomes and biotica, and a tribe of humans that is trying to just make a living. Over the course of the game, we're going to get more humans, and our ultimate goal is to drive up the planet's prosperity score as much as possible. That is sort of just a general measure of how much richness there is in the environment for the humans to take advantage of. And you'll see that we can affect it in a lot of different ways. So to achieve prosperity, we have to provide the humans with a lot of resources, and the way we're going to do that is by placing biotica all over the world. Our giants know how to create a few kinds of things at the start of the game, but over the course of the game, we're going to draft a lot more biotica for them to learn to create. And in Max Horizon mode, the game pulls 3 items out of the draft pool and gives them to you right away at the beginning of the game. Now, at first, we can only place 1-star biotica, and you can see we've been given some very powerful 3-star biotica here. These are things for us to work toward in the future, things for us to care about later. But just to have a quick look at them, the secretary bird is going to get bonus resource output for every other bird bioticum on the entire planet, as well as extra resources for each distinct predator bioticum in its biome. So this is a bird that we're going to be placing in the savannah, and in order to make sure it's as powerful as possible when we get to it, we want to be keeping an eye out for birds and predators as we're drafting other stuff. The Alexandrite here, to be placed in the wetlands, cares about minerals and reptiles in its own biome. And yeah, it will give bonus payout to reptiles. A lot of extra mystery, which is interesting. And the brown bear here will get extra resource payout for each point of rugged in its taiga biome. So, if you don't know what this stuff means, feel free to just tuck it away in the back of your head. We're not going to be considering it anytime in the near future. This is like end of the game type stuff. So like I said, barren planet, 3 giants, humans just trying to live here. We pulled the merchant as the human spirit guiding the destiny of our world. According to the merchant, all gem biotica gain +1 biodiversity and +50% gold output as long as they are unique in their biome. So, gems are more powerful than usual, thing to keep in mind. So like I said, each of the giants can paint the world with a biome and also various types of biotica. We have a frost giant here who can create minerals and this taiga biome. A savanna giant who, based on its name, you might be surprised to hear, creates the savanna and also can seed the world with various animals. and a swamp giant who can create wetlands and various types of plants. To start with here, I'm just going to divide the planet up into thirds, roughly. We're just going to go like, here's a third of this world is wetland. Let's have you start walking. A third of this world is savanna. And I'm not measuring it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. That's like a third-ish. And then you are going to put down a lovely taiga to fill the space. Oops, sorry. Twitch of the hand there. I hit the cancel button. Okay. 3 biomes, plenty of room to live in, plenty of resources together. Well, plenty of space to put down resources together. Nothing's actually generating resources just yet. So, the world is broken up into patches, little vertical slices, each patch containing 2 slots. We, first thing here, have to set up our nomad somewhere. The nomad wants to be instructed where to settle. I think we're going to put the nomad right here. Generally speaking, I like to settle my cities near the border between 2 biomes, but not directly on it, for reasons that will make sense later. I'll explain that once we have a little bit more of a grasp of the systems. And you can see already the merchant has made a request of us. He would love to live in a city that has 3 wealth. We can make that happen. Well, that's very doable. So he's put down his little settlement here, the Wild Flat Citadel. You can see he's marked out some borders for himself. And this is what a city is made up of. The core 3 elements of the city are these resources: population, technology, and wealth. Food becomes population. Every 20 points of food turns into a population at the beginning of a city's growth. Every 20 points of science becomes a technology. Every 20 points of gold becomes a wealth. And the overall prosperity of the city is just the sum of its population and its technology and its wealth. And the overall prosperity of your planet is just the sum of the prosperity of all your cities. So this is think of this as like our victory point score. We want to drive prosperity as high as possible over the course of the game. Cities are a little bit more complex than that. There's actually a lot of stuff going on in here. We're not going to worry too much about a lot of it right away. What we need to do right now is increase the wealth of this city from 1 to 3. And we do that by placing biotica that will generate gold. So, generally speaking, minerals produce gold and science, animals produce food or gold, and plants produce food or science. So if we're looking to generate gold, we're looking for the right sets of animals and plants, or animals and minerals. We have a couple of types of animals that we can make here. Parakeets generate gold, and you can see here, most biotica are going to have conditional bonuses, like that arboreal bonus on the parakeet. These are called symbiosis bonuses. So it produces way more gold if it's adjacent to a tree. Way more gold, and that's a point of biodiversity. We'll talk about the importance of biodiversity later. The African wild dog produces gold and threat, and produces way more of those things if there are at least 2 predator biotica in its row within this biome. So each biome has kind of a set of mechanical gimmicks. The big gimmick for the savanna is things caring about what else is in the same row that they're in. I'm going to go ahead and put down, this seems like it's pretty easy to figure out. What minerals do we have? This amethyst will generate extra money for us if it's adjacent to an animal. And this redstone will generate extra science and money if it's adjacent to a plant. Yeah, let's just start with... and keep in mind, I'm just talking about savanna stuff here because each biome has its own unique biotica. So you can see here in the taiga, instead of wild dogs and whatever, we have stoats and rabbits. The stoat is a predator, so it gets extra money if it's adjacent to at least one other critter. That is any animal with the critter tag. You can see the tags, the set of tags that the bioticum has on the right there. So if we put it down next to anything that has the critter tag, Here, let's do that. Actually, this stoat produces a lot of money and it's very easy to satisfy. We'll come over here, we'll drop a stoat, and there are a couple of reasons I want to do it this way. We'll put down a stoat, and then just over the border here, we'll put down something with the critter tag, like this guinea fowl. You can see we're being told 15 eon, no, 10 eon before the first era ends. Every time we put down a bioticum on the planet, it's going to cost us, put down a bioticum into an empty slot on the planet. It's going to cost us 5 eon. So this is effectively our number of turns remaining. It costs less in some other circumstances if you are placing down a bioticum over top of something that's already in a slot. That only costs 1 eon, so you can fix mistakes a little bit more cheaply or change directions or whatever. So the reason I did this way is the taiga's unique little gimmick here is there is a stat for keeping track of how rugged this taiga is, and some things care an awful lot about the ruggedness of the taiga. For example, that brown bear that we were given at the beginning of the game. So taigas gain ruggedness from minerals and predators and mountains in them. They lose ruggedness from each biotica that has a base food yield. So if we put down the taiga's critter inside the border of the taiga, we would be lowering its total ruggedness. So we're taking advantage of the fact that we can put the stoat down here and then put our critter in another biome across the border. And this is why I like to have a little bit of space where the two biomes are touching, and you can sort of like play, you can play symbiosis and things across from one biome to another. So that was pretty good. We gained a lot of gold. It's not quite all we need, but we know that we can come over here and place an amethyst, which will get bonus gold from its symbiosis because it's next to a bunch of animals. And also, of course, the amethyst is a gem. It has the gem tag, and so it's getting extra payout from our merchant spirit. So our reward for accomplishing that that goal, you can see here, earned enough gold to push our wealth all the way up to 4, was we earned a draft charge, which is very important. We'll talk about those later. And we also earned another nomad. The first 3 settled cities, as this tooltip says, will raise your amount of eon that you get each era. You definitely want to have at least 3 cities down on your planet. So we're going to click this button and see who is going to lead the next city. We could choose the goddess to be the leader of the new tribe. Goddess is particularly interested in gold and also being the one with the most prosperous city. Or we could pick up the botanist, who loves plants, loves to gain science and food from plants, and should play very well with our desire to draft. Where was it? You know what? I'm thinking about something from a different game. Never mind. I was playing earlier today as well. We do not, in fact, have a plant draft to focus on here. So that being the case, we have this like very high gold output gem in the wetlands. Maybe we do want to take the goddess. Oops, hold on. This is the wrong... That's the wrong button. I was going to click on my nomad. Here we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and take on the goddess. Particularly interested in gold, we can make that work. This is a very gold-focused planet. So we'll call the goddess in, and we probably want her to be in the wetlands to take advantage of that very high gem, the very high gold output gem that we were offered. So let's, once again, just kind of settle near the edge of the biome. You can see the merchant has already made a 2nd level request for us. And obviously each request is going to be more complicated and difficult than the last, but we're not going to worry about him for a minute here. We're going to make sure that we get all 3 of our cities set up and running. So we have here some wetlands huts, and you can see we gained eon by putting down that 2nd city. Now let's get her settled so that we can earn ourselves another nomad charge. So she just wants some wealth as well. What do we have access to in the wetlands that'll give us wealth? Well, we have some agate here, which is an amphibious gem, just produces gold. It doesn't have any symbiosis stuff, but it is a gem, and that's nice. I think we can just go ahead and kind of put that down wherever. Well, hold on. Before we do that, let's see. What else are we using to generate gold? So this possum gets extra gold if adjacent to a fish or a bird, and we do have a fish. The thing about the wetlands is some of the patches are land and some of the patches are water, and so you get these, you get both amphibious things that can exist on both, and you also have some nice like interplay between things that are on land but want to be next to the water and vice versa. We have this terrapin. When placed, lock this bioticum. All eligible adjacent biotica gain the jeweled beetle micro, which gives them 25 extra gold. So it's any mineral adjacent. That's a pretty powerful ability. I'm gonna say let's throw down the agate here. We'll get the bonus payout for it being a gem that is unique in its biome. Generally speaking, you get some decreasing rewards for placing a lot of the same thing. Is usually pretty beneficial to keep things unique. So that's going to produce some gold, but it's not going to be enough to get us to three wealth, certainly. I do think I want to play one of these turtles, but I don't think I want to play the turtle right now, because notice it gives that bonus to all eligible adjacent biotica. I'd like to put down more minerals before we get to doing that. So I'm also going to put down this dolomite. It's not even the right, it's a different kind of resource, but it's good to have some of all three. All three of them do different things. They all have different ways that they pay out and improve your settlement. And I'm also going to put down, just to make sure we actually get this finished. We don't have a bird or a fish available, or we don't have a bird available in this bioticum, so if we were just going to rely on our wetlands, we'd want to make sure the possum is next to some water, right? But we do have bird biotica available in the savanna. So if we put a possum down over here on this side, we can make sure that we get a bird adjacent to it. Now, the city borders are just covering these three patches right now, you'll notice. But cities do naturally expand over time. Like you can see, Wild Flats Citadel went and picked up another patch already. So this bar here tells us what their expansion behavior is right now. The will of a city to expand its borders is described by this bar. They're interested, but they just need a reason, basically. So if we put down a bioticum just outside the city borders, that will prompt them to reach out and grab that patch. And you can watch when this goes down, you're gonna see one of the bullet points there gain a little plus mark next to it. So there's rumor of a new bioticum just outside the borders. Anytime this dialog box contains more pluses than minuses, the city will reach out and grab a new patch. Now they feel like they're big enough for this era, and that feeling generates 3 minuses, so we'd have to generate 4 pluses in order to get them to reach out and grab another tile. So I'm going to go ahead and just put down a bird. Do we have access to trees? We don't. So I'm going to put down another guinea fowl. I know I was just talking about things generally being unique, but we're going to put down this guinea fowl so that the possum bioticum gets its symbiosis satisfied, which will satisfy the goddess, and thus earn us our other nomad charge. And we can pull the poet or the farmer. The farmer is a man of the land who tries to get the most value out of plants and things with the field tag in particular. So we'd be putting him down near the taiga. Yeah, I think we're gonna call him the poet instead. The poet wishes for peace and sees the beauty in everything. The poet's a much more flexible sort of leader, and you can see here, each leader There's a fourth output resource called mystery. Each leader converts mystery into the other three resources in a different way. So for each point of mystery that occurs within the borders of a city led by the farmer, you just get 5 food. For each point of mystery within the borders of the poet city, you would instead get 3 gold and 5 science. It's just another little difference between the leaders. So I think we're going to put you down right here. Okay, it's going to take them a minute to walk over there. And when they do, of course, we will get some more Eon, and we'll build up our... we'll build up a little request for them as well. We've got a notice here. The merchant worships the savannah giant, grateful for the animals that they have received. So each city has a sort of a personality, and you can see it building up here in this last tab. When cities worship a giant, sometimes they will, if you continue to give them things from that giant, sometimes they'll build a temple to that giant, which is a building that gives you extra yields. That can be a very powerful thing, but it's not something you have a lot of control over. The people, humans, are very capricious creatures, it turns out. They're going to do what they're going to do. So the poet just wants to get up to 5 total prosperity. We just have to improve our total resource output by 2 here. So if we're interested in doing that, let's see. What just has like the greatest total resource yields? This fur has 15 science. We do have a mineral booster in this slot here. So any mineral that is placed here gets plus 50% on all of its yields. I mean, that's a compelling enough reason to want to put down something. We have a lot of minerals already represented. This will be enough total resources, though, that it's still worth it. So it wants to be next to some kind of water bioticum. Let's put down anything that goes in the water or that has the amphibious tag will count. So we can just put down this wild rice right here, and that'll be good enough, and that should give us 5 total prosperity pretty easily. Alright, the goddess and the merchant became enemies because the goddess hates people who have the rich trait. Well, that's a shame. That's not something we really could have avoided. The merchant is going to tend to have the rich tag, because obviously the rich tag is given to cities that have more wealth than their other traits. You can see here the merchant is starting to get impatient. If somebody's request sits in the queue for too many actions without being worked on, they can start to hate a random giant, which can either counter worship or can lead them to sometimes like send parties out to attack the giant, and generally just complicates things a lot. So, okay, fine. We'll come and work on your thing now. We've got our first 3 cities figured out. We're about done with this sort of like pre-game era. You can see here, the next time we spend 5 Eon, we'll enter the first era of the game. What we're in right now is era index 0, prehistory, sort of. So, all right, you need 10 wealth. He also has a feeling that he'd like to construct a project, but he's just not sure what. We seek inspiration. Where should we look? So each city is going to come to us and ask us this question periodically, and we get to choose an inspiration for them. So we could choose for him to build a merchant pier, where he'll get extra gold if there's a certain amount of ocean ocean minerals nearby. Obviously, we don't have an ocean, so this would be a pretty unwise choice. The mausoleum here produces bonus gold for each gold in the bioticum within borders that has the highest gold. So if you can get something up to, 100 or so, this will pay out an extra 100 gold itself, which is pretty useful. Trading post will produce extra gold based on distinct biotica that have a base gold yield within borders. 40 if we have 2, or 80 if we have 4. We're already, you can see the little dot filled in here tells us we're already done with the first level. We could get this up to 80 really easily. Or Gem Seeker. 40 or 100 if there are 2 or 4 gem biotica within borders. They don't have to be distinct, but obviously we do like it when our gem biotica are distinct because they get the bonus yields from the merchant spirit. I do kind of feel like, I mean, first of all, obviously 100 gold is better than 80 gold. Like, this is harder to satisfy, but the greater yield is definitely exciting. And secondly, we have kind of a gem thing going on. I think we should lean into it. So we're going to unlock Gem Seeker for you. So be it. And then we're probably going to need to pick up more kinds of gems if we want to be able to get to 4 gems while still maintaining some level of uniqueness, right? First of all, can we place gems? Yes, in fact, we have a couple of different gems available for the taiga, which is a good start. We could put down an agate here. The Caroite will give us 10 extra gold and a mystery as long as the biome has rugged 5. Remember, we get 2 points of ruggedness from each mineral, so the Caroite would get us up to 4. And then if we built an agate just beyond, this can be how we end the first era here. So we'll place this. This will expend the rest of our eon, or this can be how we begin the first era. We will end the prehistory period, and the time has come for a new era. So we hit continue here, and as we move into a new era, we're asked to choose a turning point. A turning point is a set of objectives for your new era that will give you various rewards if you do well at them. Each turning point has a set of conditions that has to be fulfilled for it to be available as a choice. So, like, for example, in order to do the Neolithic Revolution turning point, we'd have to have 2 cities that have at least 3 population each. Obviously, we don't. It turns out the only turning point whose requirements we met was the Monument Age, because this one is unlocked by having a lot of wealth, and boy oh boy, do we have a lot of wealth. So, this is our choice. We're just going to hit confirm on this. And you can see each era has 3 stars, 3 different levels of success that you can achieve at it. And the rewards that you get for the era are based on how many stars you achieve. We want to get all 3 stars so that we can get 5 extra eon and also 1 extra upgrade point. And we accidentally achieved the first star. The merchant has 8 prosperity without even really trying. So why did that happen? Well, going into this era, created a construction site in the merchant's town, which gives plus 30 gold for each tribe that has less prosperity than this tribe. Right now, that's both of our existing tribes, so that's producing 60 extra gold, which was enough to push us almost all the way through A12. In addition, here you can see the Gem Seeker, the building that we inspired them to create, which we need to improve a little bit more if we want to get the full bonus out of it. So, speaking of the Gem Seeker, as soon as we entered the era, it looks like they reached out and grabbed another tile, and now they're disinterested in exploring any further. That's a little bit of a shame, because we were really hoping to encourage them to expand out this way, so that we could put down an agate here and have it count. Okay, so if we'd like to put down more gems in the desert, we either have to make our amethyst no longer unique, which will lower its payout, or we have to get some more gems. So let's spend one of our draft charges. To spend a draft charge, we target a biome. So I'd like to draft some stuff for the savannah. The game tells us helpfully, hey, you have a city in the savannah. This guy would love it if you did that. And whenever you expend a draft charge, you're going to be offered a set of packs of biotica. So each pack has 1 apex biotica, which is the most powerful thing in the pack, and then a couple of cohort biotica that are sort of similar in tone or that play mechanically with the main one in some way. Looking at these quickly, it is obvious that only one of them even contains a single gem. The Moonstone pack has a gem and kunzite, so 2 different gems actually for us, which is nice. This umbrella thorn acacia is a tree that gets a bunch of extra science for each undergrowth within its row, up to two times it will count that. And obviously there is some value in gaining a tree because we have that bird that would like for us to have a tree for it to be next to. But I think there's just way too much benefit in pulling the moonstone here. Now, Apex Biotica are more powerful than other Biotica, but that power comes at a cost. Each Apex Bioticum has a biodiversity threshold that the biome must be at before it can be placed, and then it will effectively consume that amount of biodiversity. So if you look up here, we have each biome has biodiversity based on the number of different distinct biotica in the biome. So you can see right now this is showing 3 because we have 2 distinct biotica, the amethyst and the guinea fowl. This second guinea fowl over here is not adding any biodiversity because we already have a copy of this. We already had a copy of that when we played it. In addition, we're getting 1 extra biodiversity from the amethyst because our merchant spirit gives +1 biodiversity on unique gems, right? On gems that are unique within their biome. So, fortunately, that 3 has put us exactly where we need to be. This would like to be adjacent to other biotica that have sunset, that have the sunset tag. The sunset tag is on generally things that care about the other stuff in the row. So I think I'm going to go ahead and place this moonstone. It can get that bonus up to 3 times. So let's put the moonstone here so that it has, obviously if we put it here, it doesn't have 3 adjacent slots. You can see how the adjacencies work by the little lines. So we want to put this in a place where it can actually have 3 adjacencies. And then we can also put down a kunzite right here. Oh, and they have created a temple because we keep feeding them resources. They're worshiping the giants. So we generated a huge amount of wealth for the city. First of all, each of those things is producing a fair amount of money just from the actual output of the bioticum, but also we have now got 4 gem biotica within borders, and so we are getting the full 100 gold payout from the gem seeker. At the end of the era, these buildings will disappear, but the bonuses that they are producing, the resource amounts that they are producing at the end, at that moment when they disappear, will be locked in as part of the city permanently. So we want to make sure that we maintain 4 gem biotica, don't overwrite them or anything, at least until the end of the era. Okay, let's go work on the goddess. So the goddess wants to have 15 total prosperity. She doesn't care exactly where it comes from. And she also wants to have more wealth than the poet. She needs somebody to look down on. And in this case, she picked the person who was placed after her. So it's really easy to keep her prosperity above his. So let's see. What does she want to build? She can get a significant amount of mystery and food from there being cats on the planet. Biotica with the cat tag. And we do have, I think, at least some cats. Wait. Let's have a look here. Animals. No, never mind. I always get the savannah and the desert confused. The savannah doesn't have a cat unlocked in it by default. The desert does. So right now we have 0 animals with the cat tag unlocked, which would make it pretty hard to get to 3 on the planet. It's not impossible that we could draft something, but despite the fact that the total resource output of the cat temple is pretty good, it's not looking terribly likely. She has access to the mausoleum and the gem seeker, just like the merchant does, which makes sense, obviously, because they both have a shared focus on gold. And the overseer here, 60 or 120 if there are 2 or 3 element biotica within borders. Generally, the element tag is on minerals that produce science. So that's an interesting fit, and we do already have 1 such mineral. If we were to put down, like just over the border here, We have access to redstone, which has the element tag. The dolomite has the element tag. We would have to pick up. Do they have to be distinct? They don't. So we could just put down a second dolomite somewhere and call it good. I kind of like this because it encourages us to build up science and gold at the same time. Generally, in my experience, it's good to pursue strategies that have you building up more than one resource, because each of the resources does a different thing, and also as they scale up, each resource requires more of its component. So let me see if we can show you an example of that. Yeah, for example here, right, when you're at very low levels of something, it only takes 20 points of its lower level version to add up to a higher level resource. But with our wealth at 14, you can already see it's taking 34 points of gold to generate another wealth for the merchant city already, and that number is only going to scale up. So if you are generating wealth, if you're generating prosperity more evenly across your 3 resources, you end up needing fewer points of low-level resource in order to produce the higher-level resource. In general, less work to maintain higher levels of prosperity. This site has a super booster, which is just 50% all yields. That's pretty fun. Let's go ahead and put down some redstone here. Now, this is going to want to be next to a plant. Unfortunately, I do not think there are any plants that have the element tag. It's really a stone kind of thing. But that hits us. That hits the first level of Overseer. Uh-oh. The goddess has sent out raiders to steal wealth from the merchant. Now, most of the time, things only happen in this game when you do stuff. Every once in a while, a city will send out an attack. So they're going to remove 2. If we let this happen, and they win their attack, they will remove 2 wealth from the merchant, and they will gain between 1 and 6 wealth for themselves. Generally speaking, obviously, this is good for the overall prosperity of the world. Allowing a war to occur usually generates more total prosperity, but it can be a little bit dangerous to let people reduce the resource levels that someone cares about for their requests. Right? If we let his wealth get reduced, we're gonna have a harder time fulfilling his next request. And like, to reach our next star, the merchant has to maintain over 13 wealth to reach our second star for our monument age bonus. And losing 2 wealth would take him below that. So we might want to stop this. In addition, when giants intervene in military matters, if a giant comes along and saves a city from an army, generally the city gains a little bit of mystery as a way of as worship. Each point of mystery is 8 extra gold here. I think they're already worshiping the animal god, the savannah god. So let's have the savannah god intervene on their behalf. I'm going to show this army who is the boss. I love the way his eyes glow when he's breathing fire. Okay, the merchant is grateful their protector Savannah Giant defended their city, and indeed, you can see we gained 5 mystery, which translated into 40 gold, which translated into another point of wealth for the city. You can also use the attacks directly on a city, which can help the attackers win instead, but doing so destroys resources from the city, and obviously will worsen the city's relationship with the giant. And all this because she didn't like that he had the rich tag. Okay, so she's almost at her prosperity amount. We need to put down one more element, and we wanted to put down a plant over here as well. I guess we can make it a cattail for the moment, just for biodiversity's sake, because we don't have one of these yet. So notice we only have 25 eon left. The eras do not necessarily have a ton of slack in them, and if we're going to try to make sure that we're satisfying all of the requirements of everybody's buildings while also ensuring that we are fulfilling the requirements of our turning point, it can be a lot. It can be a lot to manage. So that satisfying the symbiosis here was enough to get her up to 15 prosperity, which is great news. She's earned us another draft charge. You can see every time you complete a city request, you get some kind of payout, which is depicted in symbols down here, and you also just get some free prosperity. So we're pushing the prosperity of our planet up pretty well here, which is important because the third star for this is just this one is specifically get the merchant's prosperity up. Most of the turning points, the first era turning points, have a planet-wide prosperity level you're trying to accomplish. So we need to get the merchant 2 element biotica within borders, and also to 35 total prosperity. So we do still need to work with you a little bit more. We can place more animals and get some more payout from the Temple of Jianghua. We also, remember, can still produce a lot of resources from this sunset stone by placing sunset biotica adjacent to it. And we're totally going to get to all that stuff. But I want to finish the poet's city request before he gets impatient and starts getting mad at the giants. So, what are your inspirations, sir? Well, we could build a scribe, which would make him happy for having distinct sets of plant, mineral, and animal within his borders. If we fulfill this completely, it's 60 science and 60 gold, which is nice. It's spread across a couple of different resources, and it's 120 points of resource in total, which is better than the other options we have here. The canoe maker will get bonuses for tree, fish, and element within borders. We could get a fish, right? If he can still be driven to expand. Yeah, I think we probably could. We could get a fish, and then you have an element already, but we'd have to get a tree. Well, you know what? We have a tree bioticum available for this biome. So that wouldn't be too bad. That would require us to spend 10 more eon fixing up his stuff, but it would give us one more animal within borders as well, the fish. So it would complete his request at the same time, and then we'd have 10 more eon left to play with to try to finish the Wildflat Citadel requirements off, and I think that will work. I think that should be sufficient. So let's go ahead and place a fish. The fish gets extra resource output if there are micro and adjacent biotica. We'll worry about it in a second. For right now, we just need a fish, and I'm going to commit to this canoe maker idea. What I don't like about the scribe, even though it has a larger resource output than the canoe maker, is that it would require us to put down more biotica. Require us to put down 4 biotica in order to reach it, because we'd have to have 2 sets of an animal, a plant, and a mineral. You can see that has gotten them excited. And if there is, when they are excited to expand, if one direction has biotica in it and the other one doesn't, they will always expand toward the biotica, which hopefully makes sense. And then we're going to place a tree here. So yeah, this way we only had to place 2 biotica to satisfy our goals, but to satisfy the scribe, we'd have to place 4, and we wouldn't have any eon left to do anything else. So this fir tree has the lost tag. Every instance of the lost tag allows things that are counting their distance from the closest city to count it as being one further away. We don't have any such things just yet, but we will. We will. That is one of the mechanical bits of the taiga. So I'm just going to build a fir. I don't think we have anything that particularly cares where it goes. So yeah, let's just build it over here. And when we do that, we're going to get the resources from the fur, plus we're going to get all the resources from the canoe maker, which will hopefully push us to 15 or at least close. And you can see the merchant has put in his 3rd level request already. We'll get there. So, okay, where exactly does this put us? I think it's going to get us to 14. The poet hit 5 technology, and so he is inventing something. So this might be a good time to talk about the bonuses yielded by the different resources. So for every you can see here, every time this little meter fills up, the city will invent a new luxury. The luxury will be based on one of the biotica within its borders, and it will provide some set of resources. They invented statues made from dolomite, +1 wealth. Okay, I mean it's 1 point of extra prosperity. You know, every time this population meter fills up, the city will produce an emblem, which will give bonuses to various kinds of biotica. And every time the city fills in the wealth meter, it will run a trade route out to a neighboring city and gain one of their invented luxuries. You can see this right here is a trade route running from the merchant city. They're going to learn about the dolomite statues. And now they have that as well. They actually have slots open for trade routes. Nobody had invented anything yet, so there was nothing to trade for. Okay, so in order to power up the moonstone, we need more sunset biotica nearby. In order to power up this temple, we need more animals. Fortunately, we have an animal that has the sunset tag. The African wild dog wants to be in a row with at least 2 predator biotica in it, and it doesn't say 2 others, so presumably it does count itself. Put this right here. Now, I believe it only counts to the edge of the biome, so it's not going to count the stoat, even though the stoat is in the same row, because the stoat is out in a different biome here. We also need to put down an element within the borders of this city here. How are you feeling about expansion? You're not like super excited about it. So you can see we generated a lot of resources from a lot of different positions there. I don't think it's going to get us to 35. It's certainly not. We could get this bonus 1 more time. And we'd produce a lot of extra wealth if we just put down another African wild dog in this slot, because they would both have their sunset predator bonus active. Oh, it wouldn't activate the other thing in the moonstone, though, because the moonstone needs distinct adjacent sunset biotica. Well, we still have a slot open here. You know what? Maybe let's take a draft. We can't draft for the savannah until we raise our max biome rank by drafting for the other places first. We do have 4 draft charges built up, so I suppose we could just do that. Well, I think we're going to have to do some expansion here. So you can see we have a single plus for there being most of the slots in the city are already full, and then 3 minuses for feeling like the city's large enough for its era. So if we can generate a couple more pluses, we can overwhelm that negative feeling and get them to expand anyway. I think, I can't remember if you need to generate exactly the same number of pluses or if it's 1 more plus than minuses. We're going to find out. So do we have... We do have an element that we could put down over here. The stone is not going to be adjacent to a bioticum with science, so it's not going to improve We're not going to get the full symbiosis value out of it. Our gems, of course, do not have the element tag because the element gems generally don't. Yeah, let's take some drafts. We'll see if we can pick up something to make this work, because we'd really like to get the merchant to. We need to get the merchant to 2 element biotica within borders and also 35 prosperity by the end of the era, which is a single placement away. So yeah, let's take a draft. We'll draft for our wetlands. We know what kinds of things we're looking for generally. So we have access to. Gotta remember the Alexandrite. It hopefully shows us here is the top tier thing that we've already drafted. So the Alexandrite cares about minerals and reptiles. We do have the Terrapin already unlocked. The Terrapin has the reptile tag, I believe. Nothing else here does, so we can't actually draft any minerals. All fish in this biome gain 25 food and are fish if they have a micro. So it adds an extra copy of the fish tag, which will matter. You know, sometimes things are counting the number of tags that exist in a place. The flamingo gets bonus food and money for each adjacent animal. And obviously picking the flamingo is a little bit weaker than it normally would be because we already have the terrapin. So we wouldn't be unlocking that. You know, it's kind of hard to say what. That's cute. The catfish has the cat tag. If we had taken the cat temple, we could use this to generate some stuff. So this can place a pretty valuable micro into each bioticum that is amphibious. I mean, it's a fairly powerful draft. The seahorse isn't bad. And the this aquajet effect is really cool. Like we do have kind of a fish thing going already. Weirdly. And obviously there's some value in picking minerals to make sure we have sets of minerals and reptiles available. But it sure does seem like it's the reptiles that we're going to be thin on that one. I kind of like this fish strategy thing. You get a little mini fish linear. This would give us a tree as well. There is some benefit to that, right? And it's worth noting the peat also unlocks in the taiga when we take this, and we do have a taiga, so it'd be cool to be able to use this in both places. Yeah, all right, we're going to take the elite clay. So science producing, yeah, I think that's a good draft. All right, having done another draft, now the max biome rank is 2, so we can pull from the savannah again. We're looking for like an exciting thing with the element tag, maybe. Obviously, gems are always very welcome. So we do have an element tag here. We have a gem with the sunset tag, which also is exciting. Plus 60 gold if there are 2 distinct element biotica in this row. Which row is our existing element bioticum in? Wait, do we not have one? I thought we had one. Maybe I was misremembering. So we're already in a position where we're going to have to... Okay, yeah, that's a bummer. The fact that we don't even have one makes this a little more complicated. It does make me want to take the peacock ore. I feel like this is probably the right move. The jackalberry gets bonus science for each distinct predator bioticum in the biome. And of course comes with some predators. Also stuff with the sunset tag. Also cool pygmy falcons. Remember, we do like birds and predators for this biome. So the jackalberry plays pretty well. While the jackalberry itself is science producing. All of its cohort biotica are gold focused. It's just that none of them are gems, which we care about a lot. And we also need an element bioticum. All right, I think I'm going to take the peacock ore. It is possible that we will see this again, that we'll see the jackalberry and be able to take it later, but right now we do need a cool element. We do need a good sunset gem. Four distinct animal biotica in this row. Do we have... So that would be a predator for that top row. Man, that's really interesting. I think there's so much synergy for us in the things that this unlock does. I'm going to take this even though it's not gem heavy, and we're going to hope that I haven't doomed us. But in order to get 2 element tags down, we're going to have to do something a little drastic. So let's place a stone out here. If I'm right, this should generate some expansion interest. We might see... This might be enough to push us to another expander coming out. Nope, we have to generate more pluses than minuses. They're interested. They're almost there. There's rumor of a new bioticum just outside borders. That's not quite enough to do it. So, we are out of Eon, but we're not out of ways to make plays. This button here opens the planet shop, where we can spend our accumulated wealth and technology and population to purchase various bonuses. And I think I'm going to spend a little bit of population to gain us 5 more Eon for this era. We're going to use that to play a second element tagged thing just outside the city, which is going to cause this second term, or this first term rather, to become, oh, there's vast biotica bounties just beyond the borders. You can see we now have 4 pluses, and so we get a border expander. They're going to reach out, they're going to grab 2 element biotica. The stone is now all the way activated, and so we'll get a little bit more resource output from that. And let's see what that does to our overall prosperity. It's not actually that much total resource output. We're not missing it by that much, though, right? We need to get to 35 prosperity, and we have 32. So this is where the micros come in. You can see here we have unspent micro charges. We should use them. Down here at the bottom, 3 micros. We're going to naturally gain some amount of micro charges each era. And what we do with micro charges is we use them to install micros into our biotica. Pretty much all biotica will have a slot, a single slot. Occasionally you'll see biotica with special stuff down here. Just having additional slots is the most common, but as you have also seen, we have a lot of stuff in the this biome that cares about, this gets plus 10 food if there's a micro in any of its adjacent biotica. There's that turtle that puts extra biotica into the things around it. So there are, there are mechanics that interweave with this in a greater way. For right now, what we're going to do is try to use our 3 microcharges to push the prosperity of this city up a couple of points. If we can get the science of the city up to 5, then the city will generate a luxury good. You can see there's a cultural exchange with the poet, because the merchant and the poet are friends. So this gives 2 wealth for sets of We don't have a single plant within the borders of this city. That's crazy. Well, if we start generating plants, we'll get some payout from this. But I think we can do this with just micros. I think we can make up the difference. So each giant has a different like signature micro that it can install, and then we also have a couple of higher yield micros that come from our turning points and stuff. I don't know if you noticed, but picking the turning point that we picked unlocked the Luna Moth. I think what I'm going to do is just put a couple of woolly moth caterpillars into the minerals within our settlement here. We're going to try to drive the science value of this city up to 5, which will take the prosperity up to 34, and then it will invent something that will give at least 1 prosperity from there, and that should do it. So 1 more woolly moth caterpillar. We'll just throw it in the Caroite. This should be fine. So you can see the cheaper micros tend to just be small amounts of flat resources. The more expensive micros, you can see some things cost more than 1 charge, are often percentage increasers, or they have some other trait like this one gives a bunch of ruggedness. Sometimes they confer additional tags. Like I said, we made it to 35 or 34, and an invention is occurring. Let's see something really cool. Please show me something really cool. And you can actually see in the graphics, I tend to play the game fairly zoomed out, but you can actually see like the little caterpillars. They invented lamps from the peat moss that we put in. That's a pretty great luxury good. Actually, that is 5 points of prosperity right there. Okay, so we need to spend 1 more microcharge before we are done with the era. I am going to go to your city, and you know what? We're going to try to push you over as well. You could use a first research. So let's put down a bonus in the Dolomite, perhaps. Oh, no, wait. We don't want to do it in the Dolomite because the Dolomites, we're planning to put a turtle down here and get free micros from the turtle. So why don't you put that in the redstone instead? Oh, that's right. The cattail wanted to be adjacent to a bioticum with some micro in it. So I totally forgot about that, but that's also free payout. We're working on Goddess Town here. And she's going to invent something really cool, I bet. Oh, we never put the 3rd element with it. Ah, shoot. Well, hold on a second. We'll worry about that. We may buy another 5 eon to finish that off, because that is an awful lot of extra gold to just leave lying. All right, she invented modest amulets from redstone. Okay, I mean, it's something. It's not the best thing we've ever seen, but it is an extra point of wealth. So, if we hit continue right now, like I said, all of the first era inspired buildings will disappear and they will lock in their current value. Or they'll become uninteractable and lock in their current value. If we spend 5 more eon here and get ourselves another element within the borders, we can get 60 extra gold locked into the city, and at this moment 60 extra gold is 2 more points of prosperity. It'll be 3 in this case because we're so close to done with that one. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and spend, and you can see here, although we are effectively losing, we're losing that from the spendable pool. The game does keep track of our total earned value, and it is our earned value that contributes to prosperity. So we're not like losing victory points by spending resources in the shop. But okay, so we get to place 1 more thing. It needs to be an element. This does have the element tag, but I think I'm just going to put down some peat. Yeah. And it's amphibious. We'll put it there. The turtle just wants minerals around. So we're gonna set up a position here where we have 4 minerals around the city, or around the slot, and then we'll put the turtle down, and we'll get all those jeweled beetles for free. And look at all the money they'll produce. Okay, there we go. Getting closer to 40 prosperity all the time. All right. Now that we have done all of that, we've got everybody locked in on their buildings at the maximum values that their buildings are capable of producing. We've managed to get the 3-star reward, so 5 extra Eon for the next era, and also 1 extra upgrade charge. The people have completed the pyramid, and lo, it was rad. I haven't really been zooming in and looking at all like the little biotica graphics or the people graphics either, and I really should, because like I said, everything about this game's presentation is just like so incredibly charming. So we get a draft charge, or is it gain 0 draft charges? It looks, the circle looks like the draft. I don't know. We do get 3 micro charges. We get a 9-point prosperity bonus for all of our biomes having at least 4 biodiversity in them. And we have a couple of options. Yeah, just a couple of options here for our next era. So we can pursue a merchant age. You'll always have the option of doing a calm era. Calm eras have no like real strong requirements. It's just kind of like get stuff. But the rewards are really weak. It is pretty much always better to pursue something else here. So a merchant age is a time for trade and prosperity. Everyone should profit, but the merchant maybe a bit more than others. So the merchant will host the world market, benefiting from all trade routes all over the globe. This is pretty good considering we have 2 cities that have a lot of wealth, so we'll have a lot of trade routes down. And if we manage to 3-star this, we'll get 5 Eon for the final era, and also 2 crevice charges, and these are really valuable. So I do think this is a pretty decent option. To get to 2 stars, we have to have 3 cities that have 15 wealth each, and then to finish it off, we have to get to 60 wealth and 200 prosperity in total on the planet. We're also going to be unlocking the Orchid Mantis, which can upgrade plants and give them science and the flower tag, which is interesting. The other thing we could do is this Castles and Knights thing, which still gives us Eon, but it gives us bonus microcharges for the next era instead if we complete it well. And in this one, each of your 3 cities generates, they build a castle that generates resources in a different way. So the poet will generate bonus food from something, and the merchant will generate bonus science from something. This I just don't think fits our planet as well as the merchant age, and I do think the reward from the merchant age is better as well. So let's go ahead and lock that in. So we can upgrade now, as it said, we can upgrade patches to be able to accept 2-star biotica, and we can actually start playing with our higher star biotica. You can see here, like I said, the pyramid and the gem seeker have been locked in at their values. The temples to the gods never lock in; these are always live. And the world market is giving us 10 food and science and gold for each active trade route. This is pretty good. We're gonna get a lot of value out of this as we continue to grow. So we get the next trade route for this city in another 4 gold. And also, just generally speaking, we are another 4 wealth, and also just generally speaking, we need to produce 4 more wealth here. So new era means a new inspiration. I mean, this is pretty easy. The Amulet Smith has the highest payout of all of our options, and also it requires 5 distinct gem biotica, and we already have 4 distinct gem biotica within borders. We can make this happen. Upon unlocking this, we're immediately going to get credit for plus 80, so that's pretty good. We just need to put 1 more unique gem down. And I never did set up an agate, so That alone would do it. Just getting expansion over to here, which I think we will try to do. You're disinterested in expanding right now, but we know we can push that. We know we can fix that. So go ahead and make this happen. And then as soon as the Amulet Smith expands, we're good on that. We also know that we have the Jackalberry, which we can now actually play, as well as this 2-star here. This is a gem as well. When you complete a picked arrow, remove this bioticum and raise its slot by 1. That's neat. And it is 125 gold for each adjacent bioticum that is 2-star or higher, triggering up to twice. Yeah, very interesting stuff. We want to make sure we have a sunset in one of these 2 slots to continue maximizing the value of the sunset stone. Oof. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. First of all, let's just complete Merchant Town. Merchant Town's been sitting in the queue for a while, and it's not that difficult to do. So we will get expansion if we just put 1 more bioticum in that patch. What would this city like? You would like to be next to an undergrowth. And also, the city, if we put a single plant down, it is going to damage the ruggedness a little bit, but this city would benefit from having a plant because it'll give us some payout from the Poet Cultural Exchange, which wants sets of animal, minerals, and plants. So you know what? I think this is an okay time to do that. And of course, the carrot is extra biodiversity because we don't have any carrots yet. The carrot itself would like to be next to another plant. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe that can happen at some point in the future. Not my most primary concern, if I'm honest. Okay, so when they expand over, that will complete our Amulet Smith, and that will definitely complete our request as well. We will continue to accumulate upgrade charges and draft charges, both of which are things we do need. And then we can start working on the other stuff. So to complete the first star of our merchant age, we have to get all 3 of our cities up to 8 wealth. It is the Poet City that is not there yet, I believe. Yeah, pretty far off, in fact. Yep, that's going to add up to just a huge amount of extra gold. Pretty solid. All right, more stuff, more prosperity. It's all good. So let's work on the Poet here. We do want to make sure the Goddess Town remains wealthier than the Poet City the whole way through here, but I don't think that should be very difficult to maintain. Yeah, let's put some work in on the Poet. So first of all, what can we inspire you to? 200 science if there are 4 or 6 base. So if there are 6 distinct biotica with base science yields in the area. 160 gold, 160 science is a crazy total payout, but that requires 6 either flower or bird biotica within borders to provide, feathers and whatnot for the costume maker. I don't think that's very realistic. I don't think we have that number of flowers or birds. I don't think we're even close. Well, it doesn't have to be distinct, though. It could be several copies of the same bird. But we are trying to... This is a lot of resources. It's a lot of resources. I was going to say, we are trying to generate wealth, mostly. But, this isn't even that much less gold than the one that is entirely focused on gold. Flowers and birds. Okay, hold on a second. Can we... What do we have as far as flowers and birds goes? We have nothing with the flower or bird tag. We have nothing with the flower tag for either of our biomes. Nor do we have any birds for either of our biomes. Okay, well, that's not super compelling. Yeah, unfortunately, although I do think that's the best, that's the one with the best total payout. Let me draft Taiga. We haven't drafted Taiga yet. Oops, I twitched there. I have a little bit of a neuropathic twitch in my hand, unfortunately, and I double clicked. So I picked before we even saw what the options were, which is annoying because that's not probably the thing I would have selected. Oops. So for the record, what we got there was copper, which is a pretty good resource output in general, obviously, and it's nice to have metals and whatnot, but that's not, again, not what I would have wanted to take. We also unlocked the skunk with that, which is an adorable little predator. Predator is a strong word for what a skunk is. And also tin. So lots of elements and predator stuff, not at all birds and flowers. We do still have more draft charges left. Now, this stuff over here is the debt we accumulated by being given 3 3-star drafts at the beginning of the game. We will have to pay 3 draft charges into our debt here before we can take any real level 3 drafts. But that still means we get to do 1 more taiga draft and 1 more wetland draft before we have to start paying it off. So, unfortunately for us, we are not given a lot of birds or flowers here. We are given some pretty powerful gems. Gypsum is considered a gem, and it produces science, which is quite unusual. You can see here some of these things caring about the distance they are away from the closest city. Remember, the lost tag will help count as bonus distance for these, so we can cheat these a little bit by putting a lot of lost biotica down. This counts as a tree, and also it's lost. That has some utility for sure. This here is an element bioticum that will unlock for the wetlands as well. It's a shame it's not a gem. And then we do get access to silver, which is a very powerful gem indeed. Plus 60 raw science for each distinct adjacent bioticum that has a base science yield. You know, this does give us a flower. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to accept at this point that there's no way the costume maker is working. There probably never was. It probably was never gonna happen, no matter what. But overall, there's a lot of good stuff going on here. We are given a lot of gems to choose from. Remember, for the sake of the brown bear, we're just building toward generally a lot of ruggedness, and mineral heavy drafts have a lot of ruggedness, certainly. We do have a gem here as well, the labradorite. None of our options, all of our options here just give a single gem. It's a matter of what other stuff do we want along with it. This gets bonuses for being adjacent to other minerals. And we'll unlock in the steppe. I do think silver is generally quite powerful. Yeah, we can probably make pretty good use of silver. 25 for each distinct element bioticum in this biome. Not generally bad, but we're certainly not super incentivized to play elements. Not anymore. I'm gonna take the silver unlock. So that'll be pretty good. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to accept that theater is probably the way to go here. So notice, in order to get the maximum payout, gold payout here, we have to have 10 distinct biotica within borders. So that is, we have 4 right now. We will have to devote 6 plays just to finishing this this one building if we want to get maximum payout. That's not a small cost. We do have 75 eon to work with, so it's not, it's not the end of the world. We can absolutely do it, but it is a lot. Then we may as well take the other wetlands draft as well. Let's cash out our last draft for the moment. We do have the ability to re-roll and try to find other stuff if we decide that the draft we pulled is totally unfeasible. I don't love this. So obviously we're still looking for minerals, or not minerals, for reptiles. And this does have a reptile in it. It's very animal-based overall. So this gets bonuses for each micro in this bioticum, and it has +1 slots. Okay, that's interesting. The catfish is, I think, pretty good generally. There's a lot of animals and stuff. She's worshipping the mineral giant, so we don't really want to have a lot of pressure on us to put down animals. To be perfectly honest with you, I am thinking about a reroll here. I kind of just don't think any of these are really great for what we're doing. Yeah, let's take a reroll. Let's look for something a little bit juicier. Okay. This is still, in total, we still only have access to a single reptile, but it's a pretty good reptile. We have turtle grass, which is aquatic and gives bonus science for being adjacent to plants, or to plants. We have a predator and a bird. We could just take the hard bird draft. There's an awful lot of birds going on here. Predator and bird are both tags that are just kind of like generically good. This is tagged so we get extra resources just for surrounding this with animals. Again, really trying to drive us to play as many animals as possible. Trying to give 15, 15, 15 for each element bioticum in this biome. That's certainly interesting. Gives us another tree. Oh, I guess there's a reptile here too. There's a reptile attached to this one. 12 mystery for each micro in this bioticum, and it has 3 slots in total. You know, this blue flag iris is not terrible. How much value do you get from mystery? Mystery is 5 and 2 for you? I would kind of prefer a focus on minerals, I guess. This is a plant. Yeah, we'd prefer a focus on minerals or a focus on reptiles. This is unfortunate. Man, do I want to spend our other reroll already? I kind of don't. Like, the bog iron's fine. It's not like super exciting. I don't think any of these drafts are super exciting. But the anaconda is generally pretty good. Yeah, alright. Give me that. Okay, so our next 3 draft charges are going to go into just paying off our draft debt. And then we'll be free to draft whatever. Alright, so let's figure out her thing as well. So she also has access to Costume Maker. It's also bad for her. We could get up to 240 gold out of Fur Clothier if we can produce some fur tags. Currently have 0. Statue seems not too hard to fulfill, and again, I do like it when we're splitting across multiple resources. But like 200 points of resources is not super mind-blowing. Do we have access to anything that has the fur tag? No. It's not just enough to be furry. It has to be like fur that people would want. So I think statue ends up making the most sense. We already have 3 elements down. We can get to 5, and playing more elements plays into the temple that we have constructed here already, right? Well, we'll get more value out of our temple for Temple of Aegir. So, okay, that doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad. We have to just drive her prosperity up by 11 points, which the statue is certainly helping with. So, let's go over here. Play down another element. And then it's time for that turtle. We should be able to, I think, force a border expansion. Yeah, totally. Alright, so we've completely surrounded this. Now when we put the turtle down, it will place a jeweled beetle in each of the adjacent minerals, producing a ton of extra gold. That is the war sound. The goddess sent out raiders to steal wealth from the merchant. I mean, must you? Okay, we need to add 1 more plus to get them to expand, and we should do it over here. Do we want to stop them? I think we want to stop them. Because we'll generate more resources for the merchant. Yeah, it's... Sorry, y'all. Bad news on the war front. After the disaster struck their army, the goddess decided to make peace with the merchant. Okay, isn't that nice of her? And that also produced some prosperity, or... Huh, I'm not sure why she suddenly gained prosperity. In any case, we do need more element biotica within the borders here. We were not actually done. All eligible adjacent biotica gain the fly micro. So... light clay. So this stuff is all microed up now. We don't have any peat. No, we do have a peat. Well, we have all the different elements that we have access to there. We have all the different elements that we have access to here. So we're just going to have to put down an element that is not unique. Oh, dolomite itself has to be placed on land. If we're going to put down a second copy of something, I guess peat is a fine one. So this ought to be enough. Yeah, this ought to be enough to excite you to expand, and taking that branch should get us to 5x on the statue and 6x on the temple, which will get us the middle threshold there as well. That'll be some extra stuff. Not that we need it necessarily, but it will be some extra stuff. Okay, so while that's happening, we can fast forward the actions of these humans. Okay, yep, and there's the payout from the statue. Pretty good. We're getting pretty close to a second invention there. Alright, now we get to spend quite a long time focusing on Poet Town, which is great news, because Poet Town desperately needs the help. Oh, that was in fact enough science to get us another invention. Great, great for us. So we need to put down more animals, more minerals, and we need to produce more gold. All of these things go well together. We're gonna have to get your prosperity up to, or your wealth up to 15 in total. So that is a lot. We would like to put down some silver in a position where it's adjacent to 4 things that have base science yields, ideally. These trees are a good start. This thing gets a bonus payout for each distinct adjacent predator bioticum. It's going to be kind of weird. This likes to be adjacent to a plant. So, like, here's one question. Do I think I'm obeying this food booster? Were I to want to put down something that generates food in that tile, it would be what, like a rabbit or a carrot? Neither of which are compelling. So yeah, I think we're probably not going to do that. So that tells me that we can plan to put the silver here with science stuff all the way around it. That means that this is probably a fine spot for some tin. The tin just wants to be next to any plant. Because the silver is a 2-star thing, we're going to have to upgrade the patch that we want to put it in. The patches currently can only accept 1-star biotica. So when we do that, it's going to retire whatever biotica are in the slots and make them legacy biotica. That basically means it'll just bake the resources on the tile right directly into the tile, and also tiles that have legacy biotica in them are cheaper to build in. So what has the highest just like raw yield? I mean, tin is 30 science output. That's definitely something. I guess I need to be trying to bake in gold though. This is 50 gold if adjacent to a plant and an animal. Is that the highest amount of, or well, sorry, I need things that are tier 1, things that I can actually plant. So we have a couple of things that are 15 gold each. The stoat is 25 if it's turned all the way on. It needs to be adjacent to one other thing that has the critter tag. Sadly, the skunk doesn't. So it'd have to be next to a rabbit. But I could absolutely, like, put a rabbit down here temporarily. We're going to obviously be trying to encourage Winterfort to expand this way. My animal giant was, like, on the other side of the planet. So the best we're going to be able to do with these being 1-star spaces, I think, is to have them both be stoats, right? That puts down 50 gold into those spaces. Wealth is slowly expanding in the city. Now we're going to spend an upgrade slot, an upgrade charge, to upgrade this slot to tier 2. Well, hold on, let's let that stuff get counted in here. I guess I don't like need to wait and watch, but I do like to wait and watch. We just have to get this place up to 15. We've almost got Poet Town complete too while we're at it. All right, so we're going to upgrade this. It's going to tuck both of those stoats away into legacy mode and upgrade the slots to level 2. So you can see here, the legacy stoat is contributing 25 gold to this slot. Cool. Now that we have that, we're going to put down this silver. And it's going to produce quite a lot of gold. But we no longer have 2 animals within borders because the things in the legacy slots don't actually like count as existing independently. We did get the city past 15 wealth, so we've completed our 2nd star of Merchant Age. But we do need to just like throw down another animal somewhere. We have an open slot over here. Let's just any animal at all. It actually doesn't matter what. We have these slots open too. Okay, you know what? This gets a bonus payout if it's 4 patches away from the closest city. That's not going to happen. For the moment, just, I guess, put down another fish. We don't actually have a lot of animals that can go in the water slots. And there we go. That's enough to finish off Poet Town before the poet gets too upset at the giants. And we've nearly completed our merchant age already. We still have like 30 eon left. And we're nowhere near completing our theater. So if we want to keep working on our total resource output, our total theater value, we want to put down a sulfur near the silver. Probably that means here, because I am trying to improve the number of science things adjacent. That ought to be enough right there. Yep, okay, so we got 3 stars on our merchant age. Everything is great. And now we're still just primarily concerned with making sure all of our buildings are locked in at their maximum values so that we're carrying as many resources over as possible into the final era. And the buildings that are going to lock, because remember the temples will not. The buildings that are going to lock are almost finished. We need to put 3 more distinct biotica in this city. It's almost ready to expand. So we need to put a predator down near this. And something else that gives a science yield. You'd like to be next to an undergrowth bioticum, and what a coincidence. There are carrots right there. So that will finish scoring points for you. Plus, that's enough interest to get you to expand out and grab another patch. Which means that with the 2 distinct biotica on that patch, we'll be up at 9 here. Yeah, the theater is a real pain in the ass to satisfy, it turns out. But not as bad as the costume maker would have been. All right, and the good news is generating all of this money, of course, is generating more trade routes, and the more trade routes we have, the more our world market is worth. So that's cool. Okay, so we need 1 more distinct bioticum. We no longer need to have 2 animals necessarily, so we could replace this fish with something else. And if we could replace it with something that does science, we're pretty close to another invention. So yeah, why don't we put down some bog iron here instead of the fish now? Shouldn't affect anything else. All right, there we go. That's all 10. We get the extra 100 gold payout. And we're going to get another invention, hopefully something pretty cool. Get some primitive tools that we've imported. It's good to see other places importing the lamps, though. The lamps are very high value. You invented foil hats. Okay, from the tin, sure. I mean, 15 mystery is... Each point of mystery is 8 resources for you. That's actually a tremendous resource payout. Okay, that's really rad. And it turns out we do actually have even more eon than we really needed to get done what we need to get done here. So, with the extra eon, let's just keep improving some stuff. This moonstone's not paying out optimally. So we could get another sunset of some kind attached to this. We can, of course, throw down an upgrade on something and start building 2 stars. So if this is adjacent to at least 2 herbivores, it gets all of its tags doubled and also gets 50 extra gold. You want to be adjacent to a bioticum with the field tag, which is usually just on... Yeah, it's usually just on plants. It's interesting. None of it's sunset stuff, though. each other distinct herbivore bioticum in this row. This gains tags, but it doesn't actually gain payout. There is another herbivore in this row, so you would gain your tags here. But most importantly, it would be a third trigger of Sunset Stone. You'll get a bonus for 4 distinct biotica in the row, and you're a predator, so you'll turn on the African wild dog bonus. You know what? Actually, that's pretty good. That does a lot of good work for us. We have access to a pretty good plant here. If we want to 2-star someone for each distinct predator in the biome, we can get a pretty good bonus. So it might be worth like building up and upgrading that patch. Are you likely to expand? 5 minuses and 3 pluses. If we did put down 2 biotica out here, it would generate 3 pluses in the middle term, and so they would expand again. Yeah, we can make that happen. And then we could put down we can put down the jackalberry, and then the bird, the other bird, will have a tree to be adjacent to. This is really good for our biodiversity. Things that are higher star levels produce more biodiversity, and this is a pretty cheap apex. So yeah, let's bake in some resources here. What's the best we can do as far as baking in some resources? What has really high yields? We can get 25 points of science out of elephant grass if there are 2 adjacent animals. We have the Cape Fox here, so if we put another animal right there, let's say that bird for the sake of argument, and then I put down elephant grass, and then some more elephant grass, we can push this city up to another invention, which hopefully will be rad. And putting down 2 biotica here should, yeah, generate 6 pluses worth of expansion interest. We'll go ahead and grab that, and then this city will be built all the way out to its neighbor's borders. Planet's starting to feel a little small. But, you know, in a good way. So we're going to get that expansion. We're going to get all that science. That science is going to cause an invention to occur. And then we're going to throw an upgrade charge on top of this all. I'm curious what the invention is, though, before we tear this all down. How are we doing on trade routes? We managed to get the planet up to 8 total trade routes. I mean, that's a pretty good payout from that building in my experience. 8 is pretty high. Show me something really cool. Really cool. Go. Really cool. It does take them a while sometimes. Modest rings. Okay, well, I mean, it's a point of wealth, and we can already see our next request is wealth focused, to the surprise of absolutely no one. You know what? I might want to wait a second on upgrading this, because when we move into the 3rd era, our upgrade slots will make the slots level 3 instead of level 2. So let's put something else down instead. Are you guys, is anybody really close to a threshold on something? No, not really. Nobody's even gonna like push over. If we put down another animal within the borders of this city, we'd get more Temple of Zhonghua points, but also we don't actually have another animal to put down. Well, if I made this, it doesn't matter because we're going to pull these up anyway. What could this be? What could this be that would be interesting? What don't we have a copy of? Okay, if we're just talking in terms of adding biodiversity, I suppose we can just put down an impala here. That'll finish the era, and that's good enough for me. We have some microcharges that we can spend. I accidentally activated the sunset animals bonus here. I totally forgot about that. But that's cool. That's good to know. So this gives 50% and orchid. This gives a percentage boost to animals. Unfortunately, we don't have any super high-paying animals just yet. Our really good payout stuff is like minerals. So that's a little bit of a shame. But we can just throw down some micros in this stuff that we're planning to get rid of. Produce some extra science? I mean, sure. Because remember, what's going to legicize into the space is the total payout of the stuff. So we are retiring these micros into the slots permanently when we get rid of the elephant grass. And then what else can we micro? Some food wouldn't be terrible. I mean, but you need wealth, and here is some wealth. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about our position here as we're heading into the third era. How do we manage to push up to here? One, two, three, four. Yeah. If we manage to push up to there on the wealth, it would create one more trade route. So it'd be 10 more of each resource. I don't think I'm going to pay Eon to make that happen. But it is a little bit of a bummer that it didn't happen. All right, the time has come for a new era. Purses filled and pockets lined, humanity celebrates its wealth. So with our 3-star finish there, we did gain access to 2 crevice charges for the next era, 5 additional Eon, and, other stuff. So we have access to a couple of different turning points for this last stage. The small world turning point makes you unable to expand the size of your planet, making our crevice charges useless. And it's very focused on critter biotica, which is not a thing that we've developed a lot of synergy for. We haven't been aggressively drafting critters or anything. The City of Dreams. The poet will start creating a majestic building that touches the sky. Why the poet? That's odd. Having prosperous cities all around the world will speed up its construction. Once completed, the skyscraper will turn the city's highest gold bioticum into more prosperity and gain a boost for each unique bioticum. So, the Poet City is high on unique biotica, so I guess that maybe is why. It's definitely interesting. We'll get a, no matter what we pick, I'm not sure how it decides on these. We're going to get access to a resource boosting micro for plants, which is pretty good. We can go into a solar punk arrow, which gives science for food from plants. This is a thing you really want to do if you've been more focused on plants that produce food. And then, of course, there is the Age of Horror, where the poet has heard an aberrant call from beyond the fabric of reality, and we can just, feed the world to our doomed squid god. Cultists will look for offerings to please the aberrant voice and gain gold. So we'd have to get the poet to 40 wealth, and then generate just a lot of wealth and prosperity for the whole planet. City of Dreams does kind of a similar thing. It's very focused on the poet's total prosperity, which is interesting. It's not been a thing that has been our particular focus. And I wonder, we might be better off trying to feed the prosperity of the world. Plus, you know, tentacles. Yeah, I think we're probably in Tentacle Town. The altar doesn't do much yet, but once its dark patron has been awakened, it will surely reward the poet. Surely. Okay, so let us enter an age of horror. Okay, like I said now, the upgrade patches thing upgrades patches to produce a 3rd level slot here. Let's take on our final inspired projects. So, the cathedral gives 100 science and 100 gold for each bioticum that has a base mystery yield. We can gain extra gold for each gold in the animal within borders that will yield the highest gold. The lighthouse is a bad idea. Obviously, we have no oceans. Or the ringsmith, which produces 1 gold for each gold in the gem bioticum within borders that has the highest gold output. If we remember our drafts here, what was the... yes, the secretary bird. So, we are planning to play an animal that has some decent gold yield. We didn't end up picking up as many birds as one might hope, but we got a few. These 3 biotica in the row. So you're another guy with a base mystery yield. That is interesting. So the question is, like, do you think you're going to end up firing the cathedral for, you know, like 3 or 4 times? Are we going to be able to find enough things that have a base mystery yield? Or do I think I can luxury shop us more effectively? It is nice to spread the resources out, but like if you can get a good high yield going. Yeah, I'm not sure. For the moment, let us go ahead and hit this upgrade. Now keep in mind these 2 draft charges are fake effectively. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and burn those. Paying off our debt. The next draft charge we get will also be fake. Okay, so we got an animal booster here on the tier 3. I mean, like, it feels like we have to play the secretary bird, right? It's also worth noting that we want to play things that have the dark offering tag right now. If we look at the altar that has been built here, once we get the poet over 40 wealth, well, we really did push pretty close, didn't we? Once we get the poet over 40 wealth, we're going to... the dark offering tag is going to start mattering a lot, and it's going to be nice that we have it. So... I mean, it's pretty ideal that we generated this slot. And then the plan was to put down Jackalberry here. I don't think it's a terrible plan. So right now the yield from you is already 262 gold. But we know we can get at least 2 mystery yields here. We know we can keep whatever we have now and also put down that other bird. So we can certainly beat 262 points of gold with 200 gold, 200 science. The question is, how much further are we going to be able to push the secretary bird up? Because the answer is probably a fair amount at least. We do have 3 birds, or we do have 2 different birds that are worth playing already. You're an insectivore. You're not a predator, worth noting. To be perfectly honest with you, replacing this guinea fowl with a hoopoe, I think would be really smart. But that puts the mystery outside of the borders. It does keep it within the biome, but it puts it outside the borders of this city. So, if we want to jam more resources into a city at this point, if we want to give cities more room to expand and stuff, this is what the crevice charges that we'd earned earlier are for. We can use any giant to expand the size of the planet. Just add, if you put it down within city borders, it will add 2 patches to that city. If you put it down in a place where the center is not within the city's borders, it adds 4 total patches to the planet, but all 4 of those patches will be outside of any city's borders, and so you'll need natural expansion action in order to fill them. You get more space in total, but, like I said, more expansion action. And I'm wondering if the thing to do here is to add space rather than trying to commit more things into the center. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna drop a charge here. Now, natural expansion behavior obviously will only take us so far. We do also, as a reward from the shop, have the ability to purchase border boosters, which will force a city to expand its borders once. That's the thing we might be we might be doing some of. So we're doing a good job keeping all these animals up. We want to put down, so we'd want to boost these slots, put down the hoopoe in one of them, and then we don't have super high tier stuff. I mean, like, obviously it's good to put down gems. The jet will get proper payout over here from being near multiple multiple things that are 2-star or higher. And when you play a bioticum in a slot that is a higher level than the bioticum, it gets a I believe a 50% payout bonus. So I don't hate throwing down upgrades here and then filling this with the hoopoe and the jet. I think that's actually pretty good. We can put the jackalberry down like I had intended, because we are still trying to make sets of animals, plants, and minerals here. We definitely still benefit from that. And it looks like we're going to maybe get another invention. Yep, we are indeed. That's cool. Yeah, let's... So now the question is, do we want to put down stuff first, then overwrite it into legacy slots? The cost of putting down a new bioticum in a slot that has one thing already legacied in it is 3 eon. So we would be paying 5 eon to put the thing down, 5 eon to put a thing down, overwriting them, and then another 3 and 3. And that is a lot of resources to devote. But it is also nice to make sure you're really like packing maximum resources, right, into all of your stuff. We could put down the pygmy falcon here as well, just to make sure that we're maximizing birds and predators, maximizing the payout of the predator, of the secretary bird. It's probably a little bit better than the jet, although the jet obviously is still very good because of the merchant spirit bonus. Okay, do I want to put down more stuff? I'm going to run out of resources eventually. So the thing we would most like here for general prosperity boosting is food. already almost at 140 total wealth on the planet. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about hitting this second bit. We do need to make sure that we are pushing for maximum total prosperity. The kunzite would temporarily lower the value of the other kunzite. It would no longer be unique, but it would be 30 gold. So like the thing I'm thinking is it might be good to just put down food, because food converts into population so much more efficiently than the other resources convert. We can put down an impala for 20 food, and then is 15 food better than like the 30 gold that we could get? Oh, you know what? Actually, we could play a moonstone. We do have the biodiversity. You can see each instance of an apex bioticum beyond the first costs more. But we can do that, and this is 30. This would be 25. Okay, we can put this down because it will have a higher than normal yield, you know, being an apex bioticum. The goddess is trying to raid wealth from the merchant. I don't really want that to happen right now. But we're probably going to be okay. It might be I should let this occur because we need to be thinking about global wealth at this point, or global prosperity at this point. But also, you know what's valuable is the mystery that it generates when I intervene on their behalf. So let's see here. Is there a sunset bonus that we could grab? I want this thing to be as turned on as possible when we throw it in legacy mode. I don't think there's a sunset bonus I can actually like get in a way that matters, but I really just want to put down a sunset creature. Yeah. Or put down anything with a sunset bonus so that when we hit the legacy on this, it's paying out all of those resources. Okay, hopefully that was worth all the extra eon we spent. Show me... Okay, no boosters. I think I am just going to stop the attack. Hey, you guys. Fucking cut it out. I thought I told you earlier. Stop doing that. Okay, merchant continues to be grateful. What a cool guy. So we're going to put down our hoopoe, like I said. And then a pygmy falcon, which is not getting all of its extra tags right now. But mostly this pygmy falcon is about boosting the payout of the secretary bird as much as possible. Okay, so now we've got it up to 400 gold. And it turns out we don't even need the project to hit the request amount. One more animal within borders would set off the maximum level of this temple as well, causing us to gain 25 mystery, which is pretty exciting. We can put something down that has the field tag, right? Like, yeah, I could put down some legitimate elephant grass here to enable Hawkeye. Which actually does improve the secretary bird because it adds a bird tag to this thing. It is now 2x predator, 2x bird. So we are at 6 levels of Raptor Queen. And so at this point, it's starting to look like Luxury Shop is better than Cathedral, right? Well, I don't think we don't need to worry about it right now. We can stop thinking about this for the moment. Go solve the ancient metropolis problem. Because as much as we do need to level up the poet's wealth in order to get the Age of Horror kicked off and everything, we want to not push his wealth too much higher right now because we need to keep we need to keep hers above it. So she's going to have to gain at least 11 points. But that's fine. She's set up for that. We can go ahead and spend our other draft charge. Okay, we've paid off all of our draft debt now. Okay, let's see what you want. So you can get +1 food for each resource in the undergrowth biotica within borders that has the highest resource output. Or 1 gold for each gold in the animal within borders with the highest gold, or 1 gold for the gem. It's probably the gem, right? Because this is where we have that very high value Alexandrite. Well, the problem with this is that we don't actually have that many reptiles. Yeah, we only have 2 stakes. So the Alexandrite is going to max out at +300 value at the moment. But we will be able to draft here again, hopefully, as we continue to take draft charges. So we might be able to get more reptiles. Maybe. It's still definitely worth playing. And it's just in the biome. It doesn't care where the reptiles and minerals are. So I could go ahead and throw down a legacy over top of these, right? Because we don't actually need them to be these things anymore. Now that we've got their micro values or their micro slots full. So the question is, are we going to make more gold? What do we have that has the undergrowth tag? Not very much, and it's not very big, any of it. So yeah, it looks like the answer is probably the ringsmith. But none of it's super exciting, and I kind of do wish we could wait until we had another draft charge. Unfortunately, this is the next draft charge we're going to earn, and by then it won't matter because we'll be, effectively done with the place. I'm going to trust in the ringsmith. So, a couple of things we need to do here. First of all, I am going to gather some giants. I think we're going to want to throw down an upgrade right here. So you'd like to be next to an undergrowth. That's kind of irrelevant. Okay. Did we generate any boosters? We did not. It's always random whether you'll get boosters. So we have just enough biodiversity without those to be able to play the Alexandrite. And I'm just going to tuck it in this corner here because it doesn't really care about its adjacencies or anything. You can see higher level resources generate more points of biodiversity than lower level resources do. So you're already showing +2 for reptiles in this biome. That's interesting because I don't... Do we have? We don't have copies of either of these yet. Right? Because obviously they're higher tier. This gets a bonus if it's adjacent to a fish and a reptile. Oh, well, okay, the terrapin has the reptile tag twice. What a hero. Okay, so... we'd want this to be adjacent to a fish. I don't want to just overwrite the peat. What just happened here? Why did we suddenly gain resources? Did we do a trade route or something? Probably something like that. Okay. You yourself are amphibious, so it makes more sense to place you like with the bog iron. Are you amphibious? You are. Okay, I think I'm gonna also upgrade over these tiles. I kind of want to keep the turtle in place for obvious reasons, but we can get rid of these. Just commit all of their bonuses to history. Okay, didn't generate any boosters on this side either. That's a real shame. Anyway, this thing is going to be able to be adjacent to at most 3 water biotica, and I think that's totally fine. One of those water biotica is going to be a fish. And then that way we can lay down the snake here, this other snake here, and it will be able to be adjacent to a fish and a reptile, and it'll get all of its bonuses. How close are we to wanting to expand? Not very is the answer, but we can make that happen. So I'm gonna push for quite a lot of additional wealth, quite a lot of additional prosperity, rather. The ringsmith is doing fine work, actually, it's turned out. All reptile biotica in the biome gain 2 mystery for each distinct mineral is also doing some decent work, I imagine. So I'm going to drop upgrade slots here without putting anything in them to legicize first, because I am trying to save a little bit on Eon. Okay, we're going to put you down there, and then we want to get another mineral out, something we don't have a copy of, preferably. Yeah, tagged for each adjacent. So let's see here. This would be giving us 1 copy of the Predator effect because the fish is here. Kind of wish these two were switched, but obviously the Anaconda needs to be near as many water things as possible. So that's not all that impressive. The jet is going to be a fair amount of gold. Yeah, I think it's better it be the jet. Plus, unique gem in biome means more resource output. That should be enough to prompt some expansion. Yep. You can see here a lot of folks around the planet wearing the cult robes. People who are in cities that have the tinfoil hat luxury are wearing tinfoil hats, and you can actually see them interacting with the luxuries they build and taking on the professions that represent the buildings that you have them build and stuff. There's a lot of work and charm put into the little graphics, and I do apologize that I tend to play the game in a very zoomed out way, and so it's easy to miss all that stuff. Really, this studio, Abbey Games, everything they make feels like it's made with so much love. It really is something special. I would also definitely recommend their game Godhood if you're into God games at all. I think it is a pretty neat take on the genre. Okay, so how much extra stuff are we generating here? We have to get her to 120 prosperity. This is going to get us to 112. We're very close to generating another point of population. Wow, if we got her first thing, all noble and cat biotica get 20 gold, 20 science. We definitely have some noble. I'm not really sure what it is that causes things to have the noble tag, because usually it's like the fancy minerals. Oh, this has the noble tag because it's a king. That, okay. You know, like the catfish. We do have a tile here that is level 3, and we just kind of don't have anything compelling to put into it. So what feels like unfulfilled payout there. We also have a number of decent things that we could build over here. If we put down another mineral somewhere, we get some extra payout from the Temple of Aegir. I built over some of our minerals. So just putting down any mineral here is worth something, right? The fly micro from the illite clay probably shouldn't be put on the alexandrite. We don't have a percentage scaling micro for minerals, do we? You can see there are some micros that you can buy in the shop at the cost of technology. Plus 30 mystery, plus 50% mystery. That is a really powerful micro. There's a ton of resources to unlock it, though. So no, we don't have any micros that can actually super scale minerals. We have big scalers for plants and kind of a big scaler for animals. So in the end, it actually doesn't really matter what micros we put in there as long as it's just kind of something. So actually, maybe this is the perfect place for the illite clay. And it'll generate some extra payout on the terrapin. So it'll give us the micro. These guys don't get the micro because, of course, their micro slot's already full. And yeah, that gave us some resources from the temple. And we're getting pretty close. That's 117, right? We might even be able to push her over with micros. Like this thing would scale well from our highest value animal. We really don't have a high value animal. If we hold control like this, we can see at a moment or at a glance here all of the payouts. I guess a centipede on this guy is not terrible. Plus 40% gold payout on 400 gold. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. So that's going to get us... Our wealth is so high that like 100 gold's only buying us a single point of prosperity at this point. What we need is like food. What we need really badly is just a bunch of food. Are we close to... We're not close to a trade route. We have an empty trade route slot. We have picked up the cultist kit. Oh yeah, so when we started the and even before we get the altar belt, we constructed the cultist kit here. So this gives +1, plus blood and plus wealth based on the number of dark offering biotica within the borders of the city. This city has 1. If we could add another one, it would add 2 wealth. That alone would push us over to the top. So, like, what is it that has Dark Offering here? Oh, the Alexandrite does. Do we have something else that we can put down? It looks like the answer is no. Yeah, nothing else has the tag. Oh, hold on. What about stuff that we could put down in our biome over here? It's got to be something. We have this like really, really bad parakeet that could be replaced with something decent. Looks like I might be out of luck though. We definitely have all of these minerals on the board already. Yeah, unfortunately, we just need more drafts. Okay. It does say distinct. I guess it wouldn't be. It wouldn't matter very much if it wasn't distinct because how are we going to? How are we going to put down another copy of the Alexandrite? Right? Like that's not a thing that could reasonably happen. So we could upgrade each distinct adjacent herbivore. You're an herbivore. So we can upgrade over this shard, over this space, and put down the wildebeest. And that'll generate enough food, I think, that we'll be able to get up to our next, or our 120 food, 120 prosperity threshold. Hopefully. The loss of the guinea fowl isn't even a loss of biodiversity for the biome. Okay, we didn't generate any boosters here. That's fine. Okay, there we go. We did lose a mineral. And so the bonus from our temple has gone back down. So actually I may need to place a mineral here just to get that back up. And I guess it could be a redstone. It's still good as a redstone. Ah, but we hit the threshold for the emblem. So we've created a bunch more science and gold from other things. So okay, finally, Ancient Metropolis done. Now I feel comfortable increasing the wealth of Winterfort. So let's talk about getting Winterfort maxed out. First of all, it needs one animal placed within its borders. Secondly, we need to push wealth up to 40. So we can generate 40 mystery for each set of plant, mineral, and animal within borders. We will naturally have at least 3 of these, just because that's what it takes to finish the request. So that's going to be 120 mystery, and you generate 8 points of resources from each mystery. So that's already a lot of value. Yeah, Apothecary gives science for each medicinal bioticum within borders. I can tell you right now, we do not have anywhere near enough medicinal tags to offset the total resource gain from Opera. Yeah, no, it's got to be the Opera. So let's get another animal within borders here. This border runs all the way to the wall already. But we have slots available here. You know what? I'm just going to put down a skunk. No, we do have a skunk. We don't have any rabbits. And I know obviously that's going to not necessarily be the best payout. Actually, what's our level of interest in expansion? Okay, so if we put down some stuff just outside the borders, we can force an expansion here. You wouldn't expand yet because you have even more minuses. So yeah, if we put down 2 things outside the borders, we can make an expansion happen. Trying to think, what else do we really need? We do have 4 critter biotica on the planet, so that's active. I never did build any guava tree anywhere, so we don't really need to. Do we have bog iron? Yes, I built bog iron right there, in fact. We don't have any of this very basic gem, actually. So, okay, that's a fair amount of just extra wealth. Then that'll send a booster out from there. Or an expansion thing out from there. You're not expanding yet. I'm not sure what is causing... I don't know. Whatever. Like, periodically, the princess is still gaining resources. I'm not 100% sure why, and it doesn't even matter. Whatever, it's fine. So you are currently at 39, and this expansion actually might be enough to push you to 40. It's not going to be enough to finish the capital of poetry. Well, it might be, because it's our third set of animal, plant, mineral for the opera too, right? So it's going to generate a bunch of extra mystery, which is going to generate a bunch of extra science and wealth. So it is going to be a lot of resources in total. But most importantly, from the deep an entity has awoken. We took care of all of our earthly business first, and aren't we glad we did? So immediately, the altar becomes active. It gives 0.1 blood and 2 gold for each resource in the Dark Offering Bioticum within borders that has the highest resource payout. I don't even know what that is off the top of my head, but it's enough extra resources to get us pretty close. Never mind. It's enough extra resources to put us completely over, because we just invented majestic rings. Okay, that's great news. So now we need to get 20 blood resource generating on the planet as a whole. We're getting some blood from the highest Dark Offering payout within borders, whatever. But remember, we're also generating blood from the cultist kits of the various settlements. So we just need to get more Dark Offering Biotica if we want to make sure this works. I think at this point we can probably go ahead and accept that the answer here is luxury shop. Does this city have its cultist kit? It does. Okay. Yeah, we just don't have a lot of dark offerings in general. But what we do have is draft charges. So let's see about pushing up into the next draft. We have some room in the savannah. The brown bear is not a dark offering bear, unfortunately. I guess let's start with the savannah. Not really sure. I guess we're probably focused on... It would be more significant to draft a dark offering bioticum that he can play. Potentially. So it should be... We should draft for the taiga and the wetlands first, probably. Let's start with the taiga. Okay, no dark offering on the apex biotica, which means probably we will not see... we will not see any additional scaling. What is the dark offering bioticum that we have here that we're currently scaling from? Apparently I have a yellow diamond. Is it the sulfur? The sulfur is the only... Okay, so the total payout of our sulfur is not super high. We could probably we could probably outscale that. The rabbit has a dark offering tag. Well, you know what? We're just going to have to accept a small loss in ruggedness, because the mere existence of the rabbit will add 2 extra blood then. For some reason that caused a trade mission to fire. I don't know. So then playing a third dark offering here would give us 3 additional blood, even if it doesn't start improving the scaling of our our temple, which is pretty good. So yeah, the sulfur is generating 100 science, plus, it's inheriting stuff from the stoat or whatever, and the inheritance from the stoat doesn't count. We're generating exactly 100 extra, 100 times this bonus. So all we have to do is draft a Dark Offering that has a higher than 100 resource point potential, which this goose totally does. It gets 150 food if there's a savanna or forest adjacent to this biome. And sure enough, we do have a savanna. So that's pretty good. This will also get big bonuses for distinct undergrowth biotica on the planet, and undergrowth biotica in this biome get extra resources. I mean, this is not very compelling for us, sadly. This is another Dark Offering, but it's not a lot of resources. We can get a black bear, which is every bit as cute as the brown bear. Maybe even cuter, if I'm being honest. Or we could try to reroll for something that's a little bit more interesting. It's possible that we reroll into no Dark Offering tags, and that would be sad. But, this strawberry is just not going to be any good. It's not going to be any good for us. And it's a shame to draft a 3-star Apex Bioticum that just, doesn't play with the stuff you have going on. I'm going to take the reroll. I'm going to risk it and take the reroll. Okay, so no Apex Dark Offering. We can get 2 more Dark Offerings. All bird biotica in this biome gain the lost tag. And this does push up the value of the secretary bird, of course. At any place you're getting more birds. More birds is more good. This gets a pretty huge payout if it is adjacent to at least 2 birds. I mean, honestly, that white birch is not terrible. It's a shame it is a 2-star draft, not a 3-star draft, but I think we're still going to take it. Because it does give us a lot of extra blood. Yeah, I think we're still going to take it. Plus birds. We love birds. So this is I think this is probably where we're putting down another crevice. Plus, this biome loves crevices. This we love to produce more distance between our cities and our biotica. So after we do this, the 3rd star requires us to get to at least 600 total prosperity, and I think we can do that. I think we have room to do that. So if we want to put down the cool new stuff that we are doing, am I going to be able to convince you to expand again? Yes, probably one more time. We can probably get one more expansion without having to use a force booster. So we want you to be adjacent to 2 birds. I mean, this doesn't necessarily need to be a blue bead. We're not getting a huge ton of payout from that being a blue bead. I could just set an expansion over these, I suppose. Yeah, probably I should. Let's, that's not going to be enough. Are either of my new birds predators? They're not, right? These are pretty chill birds. You want to be adjacent to 2 different undergrowth biotica? So actually, it does kind of behoove us to keep the blue bead around for something to play you next to. Yeah, okay, we'll just throw down an upgrade here. That's fine. We still haven't actually played the bear, and the bear's going to be a lot of resource points. It's just not going to help with the blood problem. It's the only reason that I'm not rushing to get it down. So you want to be adjacent to this. You also want to be adjacent to the tree. Because the tree wants there to be 2 birds adjacent to it. What else has the undergrowth tag? I don't have a ton of stuff. How many upgrade charges do I have left? Oh, like 1,000,000. Let me also upgrade this. We're probably going to have to do some forced expansion here. It's fine. So we're going to want to put this down. Yeah, put this down here. We want to put some kind of undergrowth tagged biotica here. And this one, do they have to be distinct? They do have to be distinct. So it's gonna have to be the carrot. I don't think we have any. Every once in a while, a non-plant will have undergrowth, but I don't think we have any of those things. We don't. So we are going to have to put down carrots if we want to get the big payout here. And obviously that is slightly disruptive of the ruggedness. I'm going to put this here, and we get its bonus for being adjacent to tree biotica. Okay, so now what we need is to get you to extend your borders this way. So there are 3 pluses from biotica just outside the borders. We only have 1 plus from biotica inside the border, which means that not all of our slots are full. Ah, okay, right here. Right here we can put down... I don't think it matters hugely. We can upgrade this. Let the rabbit go because we're going to have 3 Dark Offering tags without it now. Yeah. And that way we could get a... we can get our score up a little bit more. We can get our... Hey, yeah, that seems like a fine place to put a big weird diamond. We can get our ruggedness score up a little bit more this way. And then, I mean, do I put the... I could just put the bear down here, right? The bear doesn't care where it is. It just wants to be in a level 3 slot. So this is certainly going to be a lot of payout for this city. And hopefully it will generate the expansion desire necessary to push the city out to grab this patch. And then to grab the next patch, we're going to have to use a force, I think. Right, yep, that got us to 6 pluses. 6 is the maximum number of pluses that it's possible to have. We can't do any better than that. So when we expand again, they will never want to naturally expand anymore after that. We did generate just a shit ton of resources there, which is great. Not really what our primary concern is at the moment, but it is cool to have all those. We'll have to get to 600 prosperity eventually. Yeah, not too bad, brown bear. What a menace. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this adorable menace. Okay, so we expanded out. Oh, actually, that was good enough. Oh, right, I forgot. The Ptarmigan's going to be getting a resource output increase because it is level 2 in a level 3 slot. So that means its total resource payout ended up being high enough. It's the highest paying Dark Offering in the biome now. Within the city borders. So that's cool. I'm still going to buy the resource booster, or the border booster, and I'm still going to make these guys expand out because I put in all the effort to get this stupid thing in place, and you're going to benefit from it. And then it looks like, this city is actually probably pretty good. We're probably set on this one. And so we can spend our last draft somewhere else. Jeez. I mean, it was a lot of points of mystery, I guess. We did put in a lot of thing. We have incidentally gotten to 5 sets of plant, mineral, and animal. I wasn't really thinking about that, but yeah, the payout from this opera now is like fantastic. What a good setup this turned out to be. Okay, so we have not a lot of Eon left. We do have resources left for buying Eon. We got to make 50 more prosperity happen. We are doing pretty well overall, but one thing that we could do that I think would definitely help, and I think this is a really, I think this situation is pretty ripe for it, is we could add another city. So you can buy nomad charges, up to 2 nomad charges here in the shop, and you know, it's relatively difficult to gain prosperity now. Like look at how many points of resources we have to add to each city in order to make it go up. It's cool when you're dropping you know, your hot 3-star drafts and you're seeing all the numbers fly, but it can just be very challenging to earn another 50 prosperity in places where you need 104 points of resource to generate another prosperity. So a new city benefits from having very low, you know, like baseline resource costs, as well as, and you know what, I'm going to buy a crevice thing as well. As well as being able to, ooh, Huntress is perfect. I'm going to tell her to put her territory down right here. We're going to get the animal god over. We're going to install a crevice. Okay. As well as getting the free prosperity, the extra just bonus prosperity from fulfilling requests. Right? Because this is what it's like 3, then 5, then 8, then 10. So just the bonus prosperity from fulfilling requests gets us like a significant portion of the way there. Okay, there we go. Plenty of space to expand over, and let's go ahead and take a draft for the Savannah while we're waiting for her to come over. We can put down a nice big tier 3 draft directly into her new city and probably generate a ton of resource completion right away. A lion is pretty good here. Bonus food for each distinct predator bioticum on the planet. Bonus food for each distinct herbivore in this biome. I think those are both pretty large numbers. Where is she? She's on her way over, I'm sure. I don't see her. Let's turn up the speed here. Where on earth? I thought that was them. Nope. Okay, here's the party. I thought that was them, but it was just some wandering wildebeest, which I guess doesn't speak very highly of my vision or my opinion of them. Okay. So, the Wild Flat Citadel wants food and animals. Food from animals would be ideal. That's a little unfortunate. Interesting. The Hamadryas baboon generates gold and science for each distinct sunset bioticum in this biome, which is not a very small number. And then also bonus resources for each distinct animal in this row. Oops, didn't mean to close that. Comes with the shepherd tree, which is a tree that counts as an animal and gets bonuses from birds in its row. That's fun. Yeah, unfortunately, none of this stuff really yields a ton of food. And food is the thing we are looking for. The baobab tree gives 60% payout bonus to Titan Biotica. And gives us a Titan that generates food. But it's not a huge amount. I think this is less overall prosperity. But it is going to do a better job of helping us actually finish her requests. Because really, not that much of our cast of animals does generate food, nor our plants. We really do not have any food food stuff in this biome at all. And everything that drafts along with the lion is just gold. The Titan Graveyard does give mystery. So, for distinct minerals in this row, distinct scavenger biotica on the planet, I'm assuming your mystery conversion, it is food. It's not as many points of resources as we might like. But we have, what, two minerals in that row. And we can put down some more, obviously. Plus 25 science, plus 25% stuff for each distinct scavenger bioticum on the planet. And of course it comes with a scavenger that is the right type, and it also comes with a couple of minerals to drop in the row. I don't think this is going to scale as well overall as either of these two. But it is a lot of food. There's a lot of difference in food. I kind of want to take that. I've never seen this baboon, I don't think, before, and it seems really good. So, we're going to start with some upgrades, probably. So what's the best food thing I can put down right now? We need to put down 2 animals. We need to generate some food. I can upgrade and throw down a wildebeest. I think that's a reasonable start. Okay, we got no boosts, which is a shame. So we want to put all the sunset stuff in the same row. So we want to put him in that row. So, like, ideally, what we'd actually do here is put down more upgrades. Is that monkey an herbivore? The monkey is an herbivore. Okay. It's an herbivore and a predator. All right, so I'm going to upgrade these. I'm going to plant the wildebeest here. And we're going to put herbivores on either side of it in that row so that we are keeping as many animals in that row as possible. So let's do that. And then somehow we still have biodiversity, which is crazy. Here's a wildebeest. The goddess is trying to steal wealth from the merchant. At this point, I am not 100% sure if I care. Wow, okay, this monkey produced so many points of resources that it blew past the threshold. Again, because we were getting those really, really good resource conversions. That would not have been 30 points of tech anywhere else. That's for damn sure. And then we want to put down another herbivore to the left, which could just be... You're an insectivore, sadly. I guess it's probably just going to be like the impala. None of these are actually unique anymore, I don't think. So we can put down another animal and finish the huntress village and get maximum food out of that. And then, surprise, they want more animals within borders. We're going to build you a hunter to produce food from the distinct animals within your borders. We're going to go through the whole cycle of inspiring projects with them. All of a sudden we're running. Oh, right. This is that war party. Let me say some things about that. Get out of here. Okay. The goddess hates that the Savannah Giant is messing with her war plans, but the merchant's grateful and produces extra resources. Hooray for the merchant. So yeah, we've already generated 100 prosperity for this city without even really trying. We would want to put down another animal here. Let me go ahead and purchase a little bit more Eon. We're going to push through the line of requests here. So I can't put down anything unique. Well, not without upgrading it. I can throw an upgrade charge. We still have one left, remarkably. And you know what we don't have yet is one of these cheetahs. This would like to be adjacent to 2 herbivores, and we can make that happen. There we go. That's completion for Huntress Town. She has another inspiration here, and obviously we want to be producing just as much food as possible. 3 to 5 animals that have a base food yield within borders. Again, we have a real problem with this. I think the tavern is probably the best food output we're going to be able to get for her. So we've accomplished all of our goals, and at this point we're pretty much just running the clock, or running the score up, right? People are continuing to invent things. I'm going to buy even more time. I'm not going to try to like super maximize this, but we may as well try to finish Huntress City if we can, right? So let's put down... We can drop another herbivore. We can drop more wildebeests. We can just like play a ton of wildebeests. Because that will get us max out for the leopard. Then each of these wildebeests is now adjacent to at least 2 herbivores. Oh, right. The bonus for the tavern is distinct animals, though. So I would need to play... I mean, we may as well play the Hoopoe. Right. Do need Eon to place Biotica. You are correct about that. So you can see as we purchase stuff, each new charge of the same thing gets more and more expensive. And we're not really gaining a lot of biodiversity here. So I'm not trending toward placing additional copies of my my apexes. This thing is so powerful that they had to set the second copy of it at 22 biodiversity. I mean, I can't say I disagree. Really, it is quite a creature. We can get up to 600 bonus gold if there's 4 distinct predator biotica within borders. That's probably the thing we take, even though gold is not the thing we need most. Just because I don't, we're not going to get a huge amount of food out of the steak restaurant. 5 food for each mystery in the bioticum within borders that has the highest mystery. I mean, it is pretty cool that we have something that's able to push that to 100, what's that, 130 food? What would 130 food do for you? It's probably only a couple. It's just a couple of points of population. It would not get us where we're going. While 600 gold is going to be like 8 or 9 points of prosperity. Not 9, but yeah, more. It helps that we've managed to level up her emblem twice already. It's all animals everywhere. Gaining a bunch of bonus food and gold is certainly helpful for her. She's already traded for a cultist kit. She has no dark offering creatures yet, though. And I think we've placed a copy of everything that we have available. Right? There are no new animals for us anywhere. So I guess let's put a cheetah down here. I mean, from a biodiversity standpoint, I mean, obviously we can still put down another animal for the purposes of this. So let's buy that. Yeah. Because this will be a 6th distinct animal for the purposes of the tabard, which will get me a little bit more food. And putting down animals is generating a little bit of food because of the emblem. So we can get, you know what? I'll take the Zen Garden. If we're trying to finish our requests, I suppose I ought to bend my resources in that direction as much as I can. But it is a shame that we never actually drafted like good food animals. So at the moment, my goal is just to actually finish this to get our 4th city fully online. Not because I think it is hugely beneficial to do so, but because I think it's kind of fun. Sadly, we can't... Yeah, even our micros don't generate food, really. We could use a centipede to add a reasonable amount of outcome to the wildebeests, but... Honestly, yeah, we're just like really... Food is something we're really struggling to come by here. If we... You know what? I'm going to unlock the ghost fungus and get us some extra microcharges. And then we're going to ghost fungus this hoopoe. Because that's going to set off a lot of extra food within our... First of all, a lot of extra food from the straight mystery conversion. And secondly, it's going to dramatically increase the payout of the Zen Garden. Look at that. Look at the magic of micros right before your eyes. This is going to be a ton of food. Right, what's your mystery payout now? 84. Yep, that'll do that. That will do for that for sure. And by getting her emblem leveled up, you know, we've been increasing the amount of resources in all the other cities on the planet. Like, we were aiming for 600 prosperity, and we blew past it very dramatically. We could absolutely have bought another expansion charge or two and another nomad charge and gotten up to the full 5 cities. There's a lot of things we could have done to push the prosperity of this process even higher. But I think this is probably long enough for this video. If y'all are still here, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this has shown you that this is a rad game that is absolutely worth your time and attention. But mostly just thank you for listening to me prattle on for this long. I think this is probably good for the YouTube algorithm. Listen, anybody who tells you that they know is just guessing. It is a great, dark, and deep mystery, but hopefully people listening to me for 3 hours convinces the robot that is my boss that it should show me to more people. So thank you very much for that. I think this is where we can go ahead and just call this for today. Let me spend my last single microcharge. We're going to put down a mantis on... Actually, no. You know what I'm going to do? We can still afford to do this. I cannot buy more microcharges. Never mind. I was going to say we should probably like put down one of those plus 40% things on that monkey, because that monkey is really doing some incredible work. But you know what? The monkey gets the mantis. A little treat. I don't know if these kinds of baboons are the kind that eat bugs, but if they do, there you go. There you go, friends. There's some bugs. All right, the goddess invited a cultural exchange from the poet. It's nice to see people coming together after working together for so long. And as it hungers, it consumes all. You know, because we were feeding that angry god or whatever. It's fine. Yeah, so there we go. Managed to 3-star all of our ages. 760 prosperity is a totally reasonable score. We made like okay use of our Horizon draft. I think the Secretary Bird is pretty good in general, but I think it got outclassed a little bit by that monkey that I've never seen before. Gosh, what a thing that was. And if I still had anything left to unlock, this is where I would be unlocking more stuff. But yeah, I've played a heck of a lot of this game already. So anyway, as I was saying, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching, for going on this journey with me, for hanging out all this time. If you are interested in seeing more of this game, I have several Let's Play series. I do a new series every time a new expansion comes out. And of course, if you want to check it out yourself, there is, of course, a link to the store page, Steam store page for the game in the description. Like I say, if you enjoy this, do check out the developers' other games. They've done a lot of really good work. When you come back next time, if you do indeed come back next time, we'll be on to some brand new stuff. Even I don't know what new series we're going to be picking up, but we're going to be starting some new stuff at the beginning of the week, and it's probably going to be really rad. So come back for that, and we'll see you then.